You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James.
Movie Juice.
Movie
Juice the movie.
Oh, yeah. Did we do the oh yeah on the last one?
I don't think we
I
did.
don't think we did.
No, we did not.
I think it was because I only did one movie.
Threw me off.
And then you threw me off because I was like, I didn't want to be the one to not do it. So I was like,
I committed to the second one.
alright, cool. Next time, can we all agree to do it 3 times?
Yeah, let's just start doing it 3 times instead of fucking around.
Alright, cool. It was fun. It was fun for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's fun for a little bit.
Sorry, you guys.
Yeah, we're stupid. This
Anyway,
week,
this week we watched a movie.
Miss March.
Because it's March! Woo!
2009 American sex comedy film.
Is that a genre? Sex comedy?
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
It's
There it is,
there's
is
a blue clickable thing on Wikipedia.
Well, no, there it is. Wow.
Hey-o.
A gallon of PCP.
This movie was written, starring, and directed by Trevor Moore and Zach Krager, stars of the IFC The Whitest Kids You Know show.
Yeah.
I'll get to the other part later. This film marks the final on-screen film appearance of Hugh Hefner before his death in 2017.
That was 2009.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think he really did a lot of movies, though.
I figure in that time period, I figured someone would have been like filming something that had to do with Playboy that would like want to get Hugh Hefner in it.
I don't know, though, because you got to think, I feel like nudie mags are on the way out even in 2009.
That's true. I feel, yeah.
Because, like, nobody buys those anymore, do they?
They still sell them at Barnes &
Because
Noble.
honestly,
Yeah, that's true. Like, they got Maxim and
gas
shit,
stations.
too.
his last performance before this movie was probably the music video for Beverly Hills.
So,
Yeah, probably.
what was the budget, D?
Oh god, the budget was $6 million and it came in at $4.6 million.
Wow.
Wow.
Is what it pulled into the box office.
That's no
There's the theatrical runtime is 90 minutes, and the unrated version, which is the one that we watched, was 94 minutes.
Wow.
Okay.
4 minutes.
And this is the third film that Trevor Moore has directed. The first being The Civil War on Drugs, which was aired in segments on the final season of Whitest Kids You Know.
Right.
And then this is the second one, and then a animated comedy called Mars, which is being set to be released posthumously because he did die in 2021.
R.I.P. Miss you.
And Zach Krager is the director of Barbarian, and I think he produced Companion.
Yep. Which is a good movie that we didn't talk about on the pod, but I think we all liked it.
Yeah, we all liked it, I would say.
It
fun
is
time.
funny that Zach Krager has worked in a production of 2 things that involved a sex robot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sex robot.
But yeah, the movie came out March 13th, 2009.
Hey, yo.
But I didn't watch it until 2011 on DVD.
Same.
I rented it from the community video.
Nice.
Word. The first time, I remember watching it, I think probably it would probably been like maybe late 2009 by the time it got on like cable channels.
Yeah.
Or like Stars or
That might have been the
HBO.
first thing I watched when I was Comedy Central, honestly.
So it would have been probably 2009, early 2010.
'Cause
My brother and I remember watching it, and I thought it was really good then.
I know
My opinion has changed.
I know we normally don't talk about Rotten Tomato scores, but it's currently sitting at 5%.
Jesus.
I think that's a
fuck.
little harsh.
That's harsh. Yeah,
That's a
good
little
lord.
harsh.
But because I remember this and Sex Drive would play all the time on Comedy Central.
Yep.
Sometimes they play them back to back.
I fucking love Sex Drive.
Same. I love that guy in Sex Drive too. He's really good.
Fucking Fallout Boy.
Yeah, fucking Fall Out Boy, the fucking Seth Green.
Seth Green. Yeah.
On opening weekend, the film grossed $2.4 million, which put the film in 10th place of all movies that weekend.
Oh, that's terrible, dude.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Like being in 5th place is already bad, let alone 10th. Shit.
Yeah, dude. I know we normally don't go that far in, but I just kind of kept skimming through the
Yeah,
thing.
because when something does that bad, you're kind of curious about it. I get it.
Yeah, dude. Didn't even make its budget back.
So would you guys recommend this movie?
Not in
really.
theaters. Back in the day, I would recommend it because that's when I was watching Whitest Kids You Know.
I think there's more movies in this genre that does the sex comedy stuff way better.
I agree.
And then, this is just going to be a forgettable movie. I watched it for the first time 2011, and that was 14, 15 years ago, and I haven't thought about this movie since.
Yeah,
Same.
I would say the same thing. I remember
Like Sex Drive.
watching it back then, And I don't think I ain't like really seen it on anything though to even click on it.
Yeah.
And like
It's a very forgettable movie.
very forgettable, and I love The Widest Kids You Know. I'm a huge Trevor Moore fan with his comedy, but I also like Zach Krager's stuff outside of Widest Kids You Know. But it's just like this movie is just. Well, I mean, we'll get into it whenever we get to our ratings, but it's just not good.
Yeah, like it's very forgettable. The plot is very.
Yeah, so I mean,
I don't know how to describe it. It's just not. It's not there
I see why
cohesively.
I see why it didn't even make its budget back.
Yeah,
Well, you can definitely like see why it was forgotten. Like I would argue Sex Drive's better.
for sure.
No, yeah,
And like if I'm gonna watch I'd watch like fucking like Road Trip
yeah.
or Euro Trip or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd watch one of the fucking Naked Mile or
Same.
Yeah.
one of those like offshoot
American Pie
films.
We gotta put all of those on the list because I loved all those when I was growing up. We should watch all those.
I love the American Pie movies.
Well,
Same,
even
bro.
like the
Naked Mile
offshoot,
though.
even the offshoot Van Wilder movies,
Everything after the first one sucked. In my
Oh
opinion.
yeah, for sure.
I've
But
never
I mean,
watched any of the other ones.
But Comedy Central would show that way more than they would show this
Yeah.
one.
They always showed the one with Kumar a lot.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
No, but like he gets a second
Oh,
in
he
the
gets
second
another
movie.
one?
He's like the main character.
there's
Oh,
another
it's like
one. There's another one with John.
Is that freshman year?
I think so.
It's like Van Wilder freshman year.
But yeah, so like I said, I don't think I would necessarily not recommend it. Like if you're watching like a bunch of these at once, like it's not a bad one to throw on.
Yeah.
Because it's not a bad movie.
No,
Like I wouldn't say it's bad.
it's got good laughs. for
Yeah, there's
sure.
some parts
Yeah,
that made me
yeah.
like fucking laugh. Like, but
it's funny. It's just like very forgettable.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say like, no, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you need to watch this movie right fucking now.
Yeah, but
So that's pretty much a lose recommend from all of us, I think.
Yeah, I think a loose recommendation
for sure.
for sure. So you guys want to get into it?
yeah, sure.
Fox Searchlight Pictures.
Yeah, that's the only one.
We got to step up to the juicer first.
Oh shit! I jumped the fucking shark. That's my bad, dude.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and step up to the juicer on this one.
woo!
The juicer.
Movie starts.
That's
Fox,
what I was thinking this time.
Fox Searchlight Pictures is the only one.
And then Fox Atomic presents.
Was that like an offshoot of 20th Century Fox?
I assume.
Or is that like their home video market? Like,
I'm not sure.
what makes the Searchlight different?
I do.
Fox Atomic was a short-lived production and distribution label of film studios 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight Pictures created in 2006 to generate comedy and genre films.
Okay, so I guess a lot of these. I guess a lot of the sex comments we were talking about probably are these.
It was founded 2006 and defunct in 2009.
So,
Jesus,
Literally-
And
the
the
year
fate
this
of
came
it,
out.
fate said shut down.
poor guys.
so it cuts to these kids in
Tucker
a
and
house.
Eugene
Yeah, they're
playing The Floor is Lava.
They're Tucker Eugene playing The Floor is Lava, and they're trying to get the treasure.
This is actually the second to last movie Fox Atomic produced made.
Who was the last one?
12 rounds,
Nice.
But yeah,
which also came out in March.
Huh.
This came out at the beginning of March. 12 rounds came out at the end of March.
I guess they done both of them and hoped that like together they could at least make one of the movie's budgets back.
Yeah.
And then the treasure, the treasure is a Michael Jordan rookie card,
Yeah.
and it's worth like $100.
Because who the fuck wants a fucking baseball card of him when he played?
I don't know.
It's not in mint condition, but it's a pretty good card.
I bet you though now, like I know this is a little bit off topic, but like I bet now that shit would be worth a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Cause you know it's so fucking niche.
I don't know. Research is asleep, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
You said Michael Jordan baseball?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't really think they keep stats of rookie. I don't think they have like rookie cards like that for baseball. Plus, I'm pretty sure it was just a baseball. I'm pretty sure it was a baseball card. And like nobody gives a shit when he started playing baseball.
Like I said, it had to be like something super niche, but I bet you like they're super rare.
Yeah.
And then they just talk about like random shit, and then they go,
Not that much.
oh really? $70.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
mean, I guess
69.
for a card. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Nice.
They open up this shoebox to get the card, and it's his older brother's card.
Yeah.
I think Eugene's older brother.
Yeah.
And
If you got the basketball card, you're looking at a giant chunk of change.
Oh
shit.
shit, son.
and then they find a Playboy, and he's like, "Oh, your brother has a Playboy."
Tucker finds the Playboy. He Eugene doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah, true. And then He's like, it's a naked ladies magazine. And he's like, oh my God, you gotta put that back or you're gonna go to jail for it. And then they like open it up and they start looking at like how the girls look and they're like, oh my God, girls look so weird naked. How do they pee? And he's like, I guess from there. And he's like, gross. And then Tucker just is like immediately like taken with this magazine.
Yeah, he's like, oh, see you later. I'm not fucked. He's like, Tucker, you're standing in the lava. He's like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, he just keeps going. And then you get the title card and it's 3 weeks later and Tucker has just become a fiend.
Yeah.
I just put, Tucker likes girls now.
Yeah. He's talking about this girl and he
He's
says,
like, you can bounce a quarter off that sweet turd cutter.
yeah, dude. I put yikes.
And then he says, I wanted a French kiss my dick.
So
And
bad.
he's like, that's Eleanor. She's our friend. Her mom is my piano teacher. That's what Eugene says. And he's like, I wanted a French kiss my dick so bad. I'm like, okay. And then it cuts to 10 years later. And
they're outside of their high school, and
He's still reading Playboy.
he's
So
reading
we're like,
November's issue.
And he's talking about this girl named Jenny. And he says her tits are the exact same size as Miss November. So that must mean that this is what she looks like naked. It's like, I mean, I just put Tucker as horny because he's like every girl that comes by, he's just like saying something to.
Speaking of which, then Candace walks by.
Yeah, and he goes, I heard you went on the pill. And then she puts him in like a weird arm hold.
He's like, what'd you say?
Yeah.
He's like, nothing, I'm sorry.
And he's like, I don't dig handicapped chicks.
She's like, I have epilepsy.
You limp-dicked shit.
And she's like, my brother will kill you. He is a firefighter and they are crazy.
And that comes back.
And then he calls her a bitch. And
like,
she
"What?"
comes back, but then she like bucks at him and he's like, and then she goes away.
She says, eat shit and die.
And then it cuts to them going out to the car and Eugene is getting ready to go to some seminar.
Yeah, and then Tucker just drives over the fucking
drives over the
barricade.
And then they're at an abstinence seminar, which I think is funny, like how different they are, even though they're best friends. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tucker
then-
just wants to fuck, and Eugene does not want to fuck.
Yep. And then Eugene with Cindy, who is Eugene's girlfriend,
And they've been together for 2 years.
And
comes
they have
out
not
to do
had
the
sex.
comes to do the seminar.
And Tucker is at the seminar too, like being supportive of his boy. And they talk about how they're saving themselves for marriage. But I put Cindy obviously doesn't seem like she wants to wait till marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And then they start talking about Eugene's older brother Craig. And this part was fucking funny.
Before that, I wanted to put that it was funny that the principal is the dad from Step Brothers.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I did not pick that up.
You fix the fucking drywall now.
And then you find out his brother Craig had sex with his girlfriend one time, and she gave him syphilis and got pregnant. And the baby came out as a crackhead because she smoked cigarettes.
I was like, I don't think that's how that works.
No.
And then he's like, and then they broke up because of all this stress, and he's been working 2 jobs because he
dropped
has
out
all
of
this
school.
child support to pay and dropped out of school. And then she's like, and then the mom would watch the baby, and the baby set the house on fire because he was a crackhead, and he killed their mom and himself. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
That's why my next note is literally this movie is already so whitest kids you know coded because like
Yeah.
it's just like so off the fucking wall, batshit crazy, and they're also showing the kids like these graphic images of STDs.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
This is a venereal disease.
And then they also said that Craig is now crazy and eats his own feces in a padded room. I was
And
like,
the kid starts to panic, and Trevor gives him a bag.
Yeah, that was funny.
Or Tucker, my bad.
Yeah, I call him Trevor a lot in my notes.
Yeah.
and then we go to what I would assume be that night, and Eugene climbs up
Climbs to the tree.
the tree outside of Cindy's window,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Hey, there's a party after prom." But doesn't he call her on her phone?
Yeah,
too?
he calls her on the
It's like,
fucking
why are you
phone.
there? Why are you climbing up the tree? You're just gonna call her on the phone. And he's like, anyway, he says, "Hey, there's a party after prom this weekend,"
And she's like, I thought we were gonna fuck.
yeah, she wants some boner. That's what I wrote.
She wants some hang down in her stanky.
Yeah. And she's like, my younger sister has sex all the time, and neither of her babies are crackheads.
Which is like, she still had babies.
Yeah. And she's like, you're supposed to. I know we wanted to wait for that special someone, but Eugene is my special someone. Like, you are my special someone, is what she's telling Eugene.
Yeah.
And I wrote, gosh, she wants some wiener. And I
Yeah.
put, give her the wiener, bruh. And then he's like, all right,
We
you
will
know,
have sex on prom night.
we will have sex on prom night. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. You go.
Go, buddy.
You go, buddy. You get your stanky. You know what I'm saying? On your
Yeah,
hang
on
down.
that hang down.
And then it's the day of prom, and Tucker calls him, and he's like, "Dude, you excited? It's 5 hours until you're Cho deep."
He's like, yeah.
Dude, Joe Deep is so fucking
Joe Deep
hilarious.
And he's like, "Have you shaved your cock? It's gonna make it look bigger." And he's like, "No, I haven't shaved my cock." And he's like, "What? So you're gonna have shaved balls and a hairy cock?" And he's like, "I'm not shaving my balls
He's like,
either."
it's gonna be all unproportioned.
And then Tucker breaks down the math on him fucking chicks.
And he says, I've been 12 girls, and I've only been having sex for 2 years. That means I've had sex with 6 women a year. That means in 10 years, I'm going to have sex with like 600 chicks. I was like, your math is wrong.
That's not how that works.
His wrong math comes back later. Though.
Yeah, it's true. But also, I thought it was funny that he was like walking on his desk, and like he like almost kind of fell, and I was like, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Because in case you guys didn't know, he fell off a balcony and died.
Yeah. It's
R.I.P. We love him, but I was like, interesting.
And then Eugene asks if he got the limo, and he said, Tucker says, HorseDick.MPeg has the limo. And then HorseDick.MPeg's name is Phil.
Yeah.
And that's just his stage name.
Yeah, that's
Played by Craig Robinson.
It's played by Craig Robinson, yep.
Yeah.
And Eugene is reluctant for the fuck. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
And he's giving him he's like asking Tucker for romantic advice.
And he's like, shave your cock.
Shave your cock. And then the limo arrives. And then Horse Dick .MPeg is in the he's in there and he's playing this song that's on the internet, and it just says, I'm a fuck a white bitch. I'm a fuck a white bitch. And he's like, I didn't know people that dropped out could go to prom. And he's like, well, yeah, well, Crystal, which is one of the girls that he's with in the limo, she's still in school and she's going to prom, and she's supposed to be a freshman, and she's the oldest looking freshman I've ever seen. Yeah. She's a grown woman. And
he starts talking about how his song's on the internet now. Like he's like, oh wow, the internet. He's like, yeah, you know how many people use the internet? And I was like, no, he's kind of got a point.
He says half the motherfuckers use the internet.
That's good. That's good foreshadowing for like just the future of how technology worked. Like, hey, he was kind of right.
And he's like, hey, can you turn the music down a little bit? And he's like, you can't turn me down. This is my shit. I made it.
I made this.
And then they pull up to Sydney's house, and he goes to pick up Sydney, and he gets out, and the bass is pumping, and I'm gonna fuck a white
and the
bitch.
fucking car alarms are going on.
And they like walk up, and the dad's all like stink eyeing him because as he opens the door, all you hear is, I'm gonna fuck a white bitch.
And then he says, all right, no drinking tonight, right? And he's like, oh yes, sir, no drinking tonight. And then they take the little prom picture, and then right after that, the girl, the one that's still in high school, comes out of the top of the
pukes everywhere.
Sunroof of the limo, and she's naked.
And
like,
she pukes.
Does she puke on the top of the limo? Oh, okay. I thought she puked in the limo.
She does. She does both.
She pukes twice.
I literally put my notes, this bitch be puking.
Oh, okay. Well, you got me. Because then it's like a little montage of them.
Yeah.
And she's puking and shit. And you don't really see them go to prom. They go into the building and then they leave.
Yep.
And then it's the party. And there's a dude in there punching glass and cabinets.
I put bald guy breaks everything.
I put bald dude punching shit.
I like how when Tucker gets there, he just like runs through the house. He's like, yeah, we're here. He like runs through the whole fucking house.
And Cindy says she's going to get the keys to the master bedroom.
And then I wrote, Denise is blowing Brian in the den.
That's exactly what my next note is.
And Tucker's like, why do you look like you're about to go to a funeral? He says, tell him to cheer up. And I got a quote.
Like, you're about to have sex.
He's like, most people lose their virginity to a one-night stand or a stripper. You're going to lose yours to someone who loves you. She might even let you do anal.
Yeah. And he's also like, Sydney's a solid 7. You're doing pretty good. And then he's like, enjoy yourself. Don't pretend like it's a chore. And then he says that about the anal.
Because I'm about to have sex in 5 minutes. And I put in my notes, 5 minutes till stanky and hang down.
And then he's nervous. So he's like, all right, well, let's go take some shots. So they start taking shots of whiskey to calm the nerves.
He's like, they do one. And then he's like, all right, maybe we should do. He's like, how you feel? He's like, I'm a little nervous. He's like, maybe we should do another one.
Yep.
And he said, third one for good luck. He says, the next time you see me, I will be a man.
And then he falls down the steps.
Yeah.
And he hits a cabinet, and on top of the cabinet there's a toolbox,
and it falls and hits his head.
Falls and
domes him.
And then something else falls and hits his head, and then the whole fucking cabinet just falls on him.
And then
4 years later.
And then he's in a hospital, and Tucker hits him with a bat to wake him up.
Yeah.
And you find out
that nurse is freaking out.
Yeah, he's like, I brought him back to life. Stop. What are you mad about?
And then Eugene tries to stand, and then he can't, and uses his body. He can't use his body because he's been out for 4 years.
Yeah, due to all the atrophy.
Yeah.
And then it's like a big panicky scene, like the ladies yelling at him, and they're trying to pick him up, and then he shits.
And he goes, "Oh, you're pooping!"
And he doesn't just like shit like you or I shit. He like
full
shits.
Like 4 years worth of shit just coming out.
Like it looks like a porta potty got tipped over. Like that shit had me laughing so hard I had to pause it and then rewind it so I could watch it again.
And the doctor's all funny when he wakes up. He's like, "Yeah, you pooped your pants, poopy pants." Mr. Poopy Pants.
Yeah.
That doctor, he's on Reno 911.
Yeah.
But he tells him that like the bat broke his face, pretty much. Like the bat broke his nose, and he has some fractures in his face.
But he'll be fine.
But he'll be okay.
All his wounds from the fall went away.
And
He just has the atrophy still.
And
he
Doc
sa-
calls him Mr. Poopy Pants.
Yeah. And then he says your muscle strength and your bowel control will return in time. And then Tucker's like, "That's why you pooped." And then the doctor says, "Yeah, you did a lot,
Like 4 years worth of poop.
lots of poop, almost 4 years worth of poop. Should call you Poopy Pants,
Mr. Poopy.
Mr. Poopy Pants."
And he goes, Tucker, off the record, I like your style.
He's like, thanks.
And then you find out that
His dad went to Florida.
his dad moved to Florida, and Cindy moved to college and then dropped out, and Tucker doesn't know what happened to her.
Yep.
And then he says, she moved because you were a vegetable.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Well, then why are you here?" And he's like, "Cause
we're
we're homies. Lock it up."
Friendship.
I used to quote that a lot back in the day, and I don't know about because it happens a couple times. He says it.
And then Tucker's going to leave, and he tells him he's got a date with
The old lady
with
Candace.
the old lady Candace.
Yep.
And then, like, he's like, the crazy handicap chick? And he goes, dude, it's epilepsy. And she, like, vibrates.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot.
And then it cuts to him at work, and or Tucker at work. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
He's a photographer.
he's a
Had like a drugstore.
photographer,
or
like
something.
yeah.
Yeah, like a JCPenney type thing.
Yeah.
And he says fuzzy pickles, and they all do the thing, and then he goes and starts like touching up on the mom.
Yeah, he's like, let me work with mommy for a minute.
Yeah, he poses her in a sexual way.
Like where her
She's
tits are
into
all
it.
hanging out.
yeah.
And the dad's like, okay, that's enough.
Because he grabs her boobs.
Yeah. And then he goes to take the next picture and he says, all right, everyone say mommy's a vision.
And it's like
It's only the mom says it. She's like, mommy's a vision.
yeah. And then it shows like he's kind of getting like chastised by like I guess like what would be his manager or something.
Yeah, because he's been in a lot of comedies too. His manager, I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, I know that guy. He's one of those that guys where you're like, yeah, it's that guy from those movies.
Yeah.
And you're like,
He's like, oh, cool, my Playboy came. He's like, I told you not to keep sending those here
he's like, you're doing softcore porn in here.
Well, that's fucking diabolical to get your porn sent to your
work
to your
job.
workplace.
Yeah. And then this is whenever he opens the Playboy and he freaks out and runs off to the hospital, and you find out that Cindy
with Miss March.
is Miss March.
Yeah.
And Eugene shits again.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck. And then, like, the next scene, he's, like, getting his ass cleaned by Juanita.
Yeah. And he's like, the girl next door is now one of the girls next door. She isn't a virgin anymore. And then Saturday is Playboy's anniversary bash, so they're going to go to the Playboy mansion. And I also just wanted to mention that whenever Juanita's cleaning him up, there is so much shit on that towel.
Oh,
It is
God, yeah.
disgusting.
I wonder how they did that.
Chocolate milk, I have no idea. But probably not far from the truth.
Real poop.
And he's like, all right, we have 3 days to get you on your feet, and then we're going to go to the mansion. And then he like runs off and throws the Playboy at him.
And then it pans to nighttime, and Eugene is looking at the magazine, and his dad calls him, and then like his dad pretty quickly hangs up.
Yeah.
I put Miss Sydney Wallet picture sad boy time because he's looking at his pictures of them.
Yeah.
And then the dad calls him and he tells him he's coming up in a few weeks for business, but then Japan is calling, so he hangs up on him.
Yep.
And then it shows Candace and Tucker going out to a nice
And
restaurant.
Tucker is taking pictures of fucking
Everything.
everything.
And his little flip phone, yeah. And the waiter comes up and he's like, "What do you guys want?" And he's like, "Tater tots and Jaeger." And it's like supposed to be this nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Do you want a picture with the waiter?"
And the waiter's not amused at all.
Not at all.
No, he is dead inside.
And I get it.
And then you find out that this is 13 months since they did each other for the first
For the
time.
first time.
And then she gives him the black billiard, which is the pipe that Hugh Hefner smokes. And
And he says, "Candace is so totally coolest girl in the world."
yeah, and tells her tonight's
But
gonna
we're
be
not
awesome.
exclusive.
Yeah, he says that they're not exclusive.
Because he's, like, very afraid of commitment.
But he
Yeah.
tells her he's got the night planned out. And then it cuts to Tucker busting into the hospital.
Yeah, he kidnaps Eugene.
Steals Eugene, yeah.
Rolls him down the stairs. We don't have time. He said the ramp was right there. He's like, we don't have time for ramps.
The ramp's right there.
And he's like, I might shit in your car, Tucker.
He slams him right into the fucking car.
Yeah.
And then they cut off an ambulance, and like Tucker's like grabbing his fucking dick and balls. And he's like, "Oh, I gotta get rid of this phone. They're gonna track me."
Just throws it out the window.
And he's like, "I had a problem with Candace." Then he tells him like how the night went. Like you find out they got drunk at that place, and they dished out on the check.
Yeah.
And then they got even more fucked up and did donuts in the Wendy's parking lot. And then he took her home to give her present for their
There's
anniversary.
a stripper pole.
Yep.
And she tries out the pole. She starts to suck him off.
Yeah,
And
because
then-
she starts to get into it. She's like throwing that thing a little bit.
Yeah, and then he turns on strobe lights.
He says,
and
"Oh,
triggers her
hey,
epilepsy.
I also got strobe lights." He's
And then he starts biting his dick.
like, "Candace, you're biting. You're biting."
And then he takes a fork and just stabs her in the
Starts
fucking
stabbing her in the
face.
fucking head. And then he's like, Tucker, that was probably the epilepsy. And he's like, well, I thought she's gonna bite my dick off. And then, like, as he's saying that, a fire truck starts pulling up beside him, you know, and they talked about how she has a crazy firefighter
Yeah.
brother.
Well, this is him.
Well, yeah. Yeah, this is him. And there's 2 fire trucks.
Yeah, one on each side. And they start, like, fucking hitting the car with axes, and they put one in the top of it.
Yeah.
And then they also, like, shoot the fucking giant hose on the fire truck into the car.
That was where they get all wet.
And he's like, roll the window home. And then the brother, like, puts a little hatchet in his mouth and jumps on the car. And they break him off, and they get away. And he's like, haha, stupid firemen can't turn their trucks around.
And they get on the interstate.
And then he's like, all right, so the country is 10 states wide.
Yeah, back to his bad math.
Every state is roughly 100 miles across, so that's like 1,000 miles. We're moving at 60 miles an hour, so we should be there in 600 minutes. And
And
then
then he said not one thing of that was correct.
No, one thing you said was correct.
And then HorseDick.MPEG plays on the radio.
and they figure out, and they talk about how like he's a big star now.
Yeah.
And they're even playing his songs during Monday Night Football. And then he's like, oh my god, so much has happened while I was out. And he's like, yeah, it's like when Han got unfrozen in Jedi. And he's like, yeah, sure, it's exactly like that.
And then he was just like, well, if you're still friends with Horse Dick, why don't we just go to him?
.mpeg.
.MPEG, and we can get him to...
To get us in the Playboy Mansion. He's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
and-
he's always telling me to come visit.
Yeah, and he was like, we have a plan now. Horse Dick.
.mpeg.
.mpeg. It's like, yeah, whatever.
And then they go to stop for gas.
And then
Yeah.
Eugene needs pants. He's like, please get me some clothes. Because he's
Yeah.
still in the gown.
Yeah. And Tucker calls Candace on the payphone and leaves a nice message while Eugene pours gas everywhere.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, while he's trying to pump gas, like the wind starts blowing and it shows his ass and you can totally see his balls, too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I see his balls.
I took a quote of like the last thing that Tucker says before he hangs up. He says, I forgive you. I just hope you're not going to be a dick about this.
Yeah. Because he says that, like, he's just being an asshole, really.
Yeah.
Like, he's
But
not-
it's also, I guess, the kind of... Because he's, like, looking at the pipe in the magazine of that Hugh Hefner smokes. And then he's
Yeah.
like... Then he looks at the phone longingly. So, like, you can tell, like, he does love Candace. He just can't really admit it, I guess.
Yeah.
For some dumb reason. Because, I mean, like, she seems pretty chill. She's pretty cool.
And he also mentioned when he's calling her, like, by the way, did your answer machine say my boyfriend? Because weird. I mean, we've talked about that. It's like, all right, dude, whatever.
Yeah, because when the voicemail hangs, he's like, I can't talk on the phone now because I'm trying to kill my boyfriend.
But then after that, he hangs up and he goes outside, and Eugene's like in the car, and he says, "Why is your dress all wet?"
He's like, shut up, get the car.
then
And then this is where I put. I thought it was funny that the axe being in the car was still funny.
Yeah, I do think that's hilarious that it's just in the car.
Yeah. They just keep driving with it.
And then
And Eugene says he's tired, and Tucker says he took 10 of those horny goat weed Sanema pills.
yeah, and then Eugene like kind of has a moment of like clarity. Oh, he also bought Eugene like a shirt with like a bikini lady on it.
Yeah, he's like, really?
And then he tells him like, "Hey, thanks Tucker for everything." And then he said, "Dude, we're homies. Lock it up."
Lock it up.
And then Eugene wakes up in a dream, like it cuts to him sleeping, and he's in a dream. And Sydney wants to party, and she says how she got tired of waiting for him, so she went out and blew everyone. And why did he have to get drunk and couldn't just make love to her? He turned her into a whore. And then you find out she has thousands of venereal diseases, just like his brother. And then he wakes up, and Tucker is also sleeping.
Yeah.
So they almost wreck, and then they pull over to a hotel, and Tucker's like, "Well, I started drinking NyQuil because that horny goat weed gave me jitters."
Yeah.
Then he's like, "I'm good. We can just leave." And
they get they're in the room, and Tucker gives Eugene a lesson in Playboy sophistication.
yeah, because Eugene calls it the stupid fucking mansion, and Tucker gets offended.
Yeah.
And he starts talking about how important the Playboy Mansion is. And he's like, no, you just want to go there so you can see naked ladies take baths together. And he talks about bathrobes and how they're the Western equivalent to togas. And
And then he tries to smoke his pipe, and the curtains catch fire.
Yep.
And the fucking whole motel burns down.
Burns the hotel down, and then it cuts to the firemen showing up.
And they recognize him.
Oh, God.
And they start throwing axes again.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because I was like, how did all the firemen know each other?
Well, there was like a... It's like they all sent like a fucking picture, remember?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
was-
what that was? I didn't know what was going on in that. I'm
Yeah, they
like,
there's like a cut where it's like them sending a picture and like a,
Yeah, and
hey, look out for this fucking guy.
I think Tucker says, I guess firemen talk.
oh, yeah, true.
And then the where they're driving away and they throw the axes. That's like the only scene one of the only scenes I remember from this movie.
Yeah, because they're deadly with those motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah.
They like fucking pinpoint.
And then it's the next morning, and they're in the car, and Tucker's like, "How's that atrophy coming?" And then he says, "Are you still mad?" and he just doesn't say anything.
And he's like, you want to grab something to eat? Then he's like, how much money do we have? He said, about $7.
$7. Then he says, "Do you have money?" He's like, "No, Tucker. I've been
I don't have a
home-
bank account.
I've been home for 4 years. I don't even have a bank account."
And he's like, well, $7 should be enough for the both of us to eat. And they roll up to the pay toll, and it says $6.75.
well.
And then he just looks, he goes, are you mad? He's like, yeah, I'm mad.
He said, who plans a cross country road trip with $100?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, to be fair, I had to buy you clothes.
Yeah, because they kind of start blaming each other.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you've almost got me killed like 3 times. And he's like, you're overreacting. And he's like, I'm not overreacting. I'm trying to reclaim my life. And you just want to go rub up on strippers.
He says, rub up strippers. I will not have any of this degrading speech in my car.
And then Horsedick.mpegs immediately comes on. And then it cuts to Candace, and you see that she's at the hotel, and she finds the pipe. And then she gets a call, and it says they're spotted in Chicago. And then you get the iconic song.
Suck my dick while I fuck your ass.
Yeah. Suck my dick.
Go while I fuck
that
your ass. And I'm like, wait, how can she suck the dick if it's in her ass?
I think Eugene points that out. He was like, the lyrics don't make sense.
Yeah. And I just want to, for the James McDowell boob toll, there's 4 boobs. 2 pairs, 4 boobs.
Yay!
And-
We're back, baby!
And
I haven't been able to count boobs in so long.
Yeah.
Because we're family friendly sometimes. Not really at all, actually.
Yeah.
Do not let your kids listen to us.
But anyway, so they roll up on Horsedick.mpeg's
And the director
video. Is it Anthony Jeselnik?
Yeah, I wrote that down too. Anthony.
It's such a weird cameo for him, but like I like
know.
it because he was kind of a nice guy in the movie. But
Yeah.
like he's kind of a cock.
And then while they're listening, Tucker's like, I wish Candace were here. She'd love this song. And Eugene says, she would try to kill you if she was here.
He's like, oh
He's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, right.
And then at the end, Horsedick is like, respect! And he starts like crying. I don't know, it was weird. And then the producer guy comes up and he's like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. Hip hop is back. And Horsedick says, you think they're going to get the message though? I was like,
And then they started to catch up with Horse Dick, and then he was just like, "Can you get us to the Playboy Mansion?" He was like, "Absolutely." And then it pans to them all on the tour on his tour party bus.
Well, I also want to mention, because I thought it was funny, that he calls Eugene the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about his CD, and he's like, motherfuckers got killed when my last CD dropped at Tower Records. Thank God. I was like, bro, what? And then, yeah, they find out he can get him in the mansion, and then they're talking on the tour bus, and Horsedick finds out that,
Oh yeah, because Tucker's like, "Yeah, we can finally get Eugene laid."
And he's like, wait, you a virgin?
he said, finally have sex, you a virgin? Turn the music off!
And then he talks to his bitches because that's what he calls them.
Yes.
That's not me. He says, hey, have sex with this man. And I'm like, you can just command that?
Yeah.
Like, hold on a second, buddy.
Yeah,
Did they consent?
And Eugene's
And,
like, I'm gonna wait, and then,
And then Tucker's like, "But I'll do it."
yeah.
He's like, all right, you got it.
And then that one goes to the bathroom, and he's like, you okay with just Crystal? And he's like, yeah, what
That's
the
fine.
fuck?
Because the other one's like, "I gotta take a shit."
And then Horsedick.mpeg starts talking to Eugene, because that's after Tucker leaves.
Yeah.
And he's like,
We're gonna smoke this right here.
or you're gonna fuck one of them girls, because
Yeah,
whenever you're on my tour bus...
It's a party bus. We gonna party.
Yep. And then the girl that
So you
went to
either
the
gonna smoke
bathroom...
this or you gonna go fuck.
The girl that went to the bathroom comes out and she says, we're out of toilet paper.
And he goes, "I guess I'll smoke."
Good call. And then it shows Tucker and Crystal back there, and they're about to get frisky.
Crystal opens the window.
Dude, this is like the funniest part of the movie in my opinion,
Agreed.
because it's just so out of fucking nowhere.
It's the part I remember the most. Too,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
me too.
Like,
I was watching this movie and my wife came home during this scene.
yeah.
But yeah, she opens a window and lights a match.
Yeah.
And Tucker's like, I'm a little drunk, so this could take 2 or 3 minutes.
And she starts sucking on her finger.
And then it shows Horstick.mpeg talking to Eugene again.
Yeah.
And Eugene's like, how much can a person change in 4 years? And I wrote, a lot, man. And then Horstick starts getting him on some real shit. He's like, a bitch tore Horstick's heart out for real, yo. And then he's really high, so he says he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the bedroom, and you see 2 more boobs.
She takes her shirt off.
Yep.
And then I put boobs nice.
Boobs nice indeed, yes, sir.
And I put the tour bus hits a bump in the road, and the girl just flies out of the fucking window.
Tucker just like stands there and he's just staring.
Because his fucking face is like my exact reaction of just like
He looks horrified. But to be fair, if I was in his shoes, I probably would also be scared.
Yeah, I just wrote,
Oh, what would you do in that situation?
I don't know.
I literally took a screenshot of it because it was fucking hilarious.
And then he just kind of leaves. Like
He's like
Yeah, he's like,
backs on out.
it's like the Homer Simpson in the bushes meme.
Yep.
And then Horstick.mpeg is having a crisis, and Tucker comes out, but then he changes his tune. He starts talking about like, no attachments to these bitches, fuck them. And then Tucker goes to bed.
Because
He's like, yeah, I'm going to bed.
He asked Tucker. He was just like, "How was it?" He's like, "It was good, but I gotta go to bed.
I gotta go to bed. And he's like, yeah, Tucker. And then Horstick says, bitches don't do nothing but take. That's why you don't give them nothing but the dick. They can't take that from you.
Well,
And then they start talking about, like, starts saying how he's had sex with all the Playboy playmates or whatever.
Yeah, he said there isn't a Playboy bunny that he hasn't had slept with, including Cindy.
Miss March, which is Cindy. And he says he had her screaming like her house was on fire. She was chomping down on my dick like it was a hot dog eating contest, and she was some little Asian dude.
Kobayashi.
And then Eugene just smacks him, and then he instantly shits himself.
His smack is so light. He just, he just shits.
And then they get thrown off the bus.
And then he says, "Get back here, you pervert! I hope you get VD and your dick falls off." And I wrote, foreshadowing. And then Eugene gets all upset because Sydney fucked Horstick.mpeg. And then Tucker's like, hey man, she just fucked a guy, like she's still Cindy.
And he was like, you wouldn't understand.
We had something special, and I just wrote oof.
I get it.
Yeah, until you fucking combed yourself.
Yeah. And then they're walking, and Tucker's like, man, I miss Candace because she has a car.
And she's like, I miss Candace. And he's like, again, she would kill you. He's like, yeah, but she has a car. And he's like, yeah, well.
And then they have 12 hours to get across 2 states, and Tucker is trying to be like optimistic about this. He's like, hey,
yeah, things work out. Come
things are
on,
gonna
man.
work out.
He's like, how the fuck are they gonna work out?
Yeah, Eugene says, no, they don't. I'm proof of that. And then all of a sudden, this car pulls up.
And a Russian lesbian couple
Yep.
picks them up, and their deal is they have to drive them while they make love in the back seat. And then they start driving. Tucker crashes the car.
They start driving. Tucker immediately crashes the car.
Yeah, because she's like, we're gonna suck and fuck all the way there.
And then she's like, I almost bit Vanka's labia due to this crash. And then I have some notes for me. I said, I saw another boob. Yeah, boobs.
I put in my notes. I guess things do work out. Tucker was right.
And then they crash again.
And they're like, is this gonna happen every 5 minutes? And Tucker's like, no.
Nope.
Nope. We're good. And then
It pans to Candace at a diner, and she gets a phone call, and I didn't write down.
It's basically like, oh, they're going into LA, and she's like, I know exactly where they're going.
And then it's the lesbians still fucking, and Eugene's like, hey, I didn't want to say anything and be rude, but this car's starting to smell. And then Tucker immediately knows the address to the mansion. And,
Yeah, like off of the top of his
off
head.
the dome. And then they get there, and Horstick is there, because I think they see his tour bus or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, we're 20 minutes late. And then they see like the list of people that that are supposed to get in, which like obviously that's going to be there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know how we're going to get in. So what they try to do is they try to take like the hot lesbians in
Yep.
as their dates.
And like they're like on the left sides, the left and right side, and like they're in the middle. So like they get stopped by the 2 bouncer guys while the lesbians were able to go right through. And they're like, we're with them.
And the lesbians are making out the whole time.
Yeah,
Like-
because everyone's like, yeah, woo, and taking pictures and stuff. Like it's like a club or something.
and then the fire department shows up.
And Tucker and Eugene just start hiding in the bushes. And then Tucker gets a plan, and they dress up as firemen just to get inside the mansion.
And then there's 4 more boobs.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I told you guys.
Did you pause it every time there was a boob to count? Or
No, I ended up losing count because there's like one scene a little bit later where there's so
There's like
many.
a bunch of them. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like guess. It's not that deep.
So we just saw boobs. That's all.
It's just a running joke. Like I didn't really plan on us doing a super booby movie, you know.
He wasn't ready.
And then Candace is there, and they're like, "Hey, you can't go in here." And she grabs the security man by the balls, and he lets her in. And he says, "Damn, bitch is crazy."
It's funny. That was like a guy from Sweet Life on Deck. He was like in a bunch of episodes of that.
Oh, really?
And his name was Kirby, and I was like, "Hey, it's Kirby. I know that guy."
Yeah,
But yeah, he's like, "Oh, just go in, you crazy bitch."
Yeah, I just put in bouncer gets sack squeezed, not in the good way.
And
And then they go inside, and Tucker starts taking off the fireman stuff, and he's like, firemen never get laid. Everyone knows that. People hate firemen."
I was thinking, that's probably why they're so angry.
Yeah. And then he says he's going to go to the poolside to get laid, and he runs out there.
Instantly keeps striking out.
Dude, immediately.
My favorite was, "All right, MILF."
I'm 25. Really? And then I also like the one where he starts talking to this girl, and she's immediately just like, "All right, where's my pepper spray?"
No, okay, I'm sorry.
And then he finds a girl named Sarah Jean Underwood. She is the playmate of the year 2007. And she has a dog named Puddles.
Yep.
And then he starts talking about like how she saved it from the pound. He's like, "Yeah, the pound. My neighbor had this jerk Labrador that I sent to the pound because it kept getting in my garbage." She's like, "That's awful. They put dogs to sleep there." And then she's talking about how she got it from the pound to nurse it back to health. And he's like, "Oh, you can do that?"
Well, he's like staring at her boobs. She's like, "No, not like that." He's like, "Oh, I just thought with your boobs."
Yeah, he's always thinking about boobs. And then he starts talking about how he's seen nursing on the internet a bunch. Then he's also seen girls make love to dogs on the internet. Not that that's good at all, because that's bad. Unless you do that, then whatever. I'm not judging. It's like, bro, what's the matter with you? And then she's like, "Hey, you know, I'm going to leave because I got to take Puddles to the bathroom out in the yard."
And he was like, I can take her.
He's like, "I'll take the dog, you know, let me make it up to you." He runs off with the dog. Well, I mean, she does give it to him, like willingly gives him the dog, kind of. Hesitantly, but willingly.
Right.
And then he's like, the dog starts attracting all the ladies, but it needs to pee. And while he's talking to this other lady, the dog pees in the lady's drink, and she drinks the pee.
Yeah. She drinks it.
And she loves it.
And
She thinks it's delicious. Because he gets her another drink right after that, and she tested that it tastes gross. And
And
then
she
the other
said it tastes like shit. She's like, the other one tasted, and he's like pee?
one...
She's like, no, it just tasted better.
And she's like, "All right, I'm going to leave and I got to go to the bathroom. You get me some more of that good stuff, and I'll be right back." And then it cuts back to Eugene, and then you see Dot Impeg, and he's talking about killing Eugene and making him suck his dick because he's going to hold his little dead head right there. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Because he's telling his friends.
And then it's funny because when he's talking about the poop, one of the guys is like,
Man, I hate
poop." I was like, okay. And then it shows Tucker trying to get Puddle to pee,
in the drink. He's like, give us more Puddles.
shaking it over the glass. Then he tries to make it drink beer. And while he's doing that,
The girl who likes pup dogs comes by. He's like,
he
"What?"
throws the
He
beer.
throws the beer, and then
Sarah Jean Underwood shows back up, and he just throws the
he throws
dog.
Puddles. It's like Puddles, and then he just runs. He's like, "Ah."
And then it shows Eugene like asking around about Sydney, and there's a waitress, and she's like, "Are you a stalker? We have a 214." And he's like, "No, I'm not a stalker." And she immediately just believes him. And she's
Yeah.
like, "Do you want something to drink?" And he's like, "No." And then it's back to Tucker striking out again because he's
Yeah.
trying to tell these girls that he's really good at sex, and every girl he has sex with tells him how good he is at having sex. And then there's 2 more boobs, and then I put wait 2 more, and then I said pool scene. I lost
he
count.
finds the waterfall.
Yeah.
The famous waterfall.
And everyone thinks he's. And then it's called the Grotto.
Yeah, that's what
And
it is.
then everyone thinks that Eugene's a stalker.
Because he does it again, and she's like, "We got a stalker," and then he actually gets caught this time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because he runs into Cindy finally.
Yeah.
Well, he runs. Well, he tries to get into that door with the dude, the big bouncer dude.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm not a stalker. I came across the country just to see her." And then he
Which is
sees
not helping
her.
his case.
No, that sounds awful. That sounds very
Yeah,
stalker.
that sounds way worse.
And then, but like while he's getting pulled away, she sees him, and then it's Tucker again, and he runs into Candace, and she is covered in fork wounds, and he says, "Sorry about that," and then runs away. And then the firemen also start chasing him.
Yep. And then he runs back up runs back into the lesbians.
Yeah.
And he says they're like, we need a place to fuck with a bed. He's like there's some through this room, and the one literally lockpicks it with her tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wrote,
It's fucking crazy.
what the fuck? And then he gets into the door, and as he's getting in the door, the fireman throws an axe, so he almost got.
Yeah.
And then also during that scene, it cuts to Eugene at another point, and it shows him being put in like a security room.
Yep.
And the girls get into a room,
And they instantly lock him out.
They lock him
Yeah.
out, and then Tucker escapes into another room as well, and Hugh Hefner's there.
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, Hef, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan." And he's telling him like, I'm living by your rules, like everything this is how I live my life, like the way that I've learned from your fucking Playboy magazine, whatever. And then
He's like, well, how's that going for you?
yeah.
He's like, not great.
And he tells him about how he's still striking out.
And he was like, well, the party's outside. You have a good time.
Yep. And then he cuts back to Eugene, and Sydney comes in to see him. And then he just immediately like digs into this fucking girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, chill the fuck out, man. Like, and he starts slut shaming her, and then the security dude keeps fucking punching him in
Yeah,
the
he
face.
takes like 3 fucking punches.
He's like, bro, quit! Don't disrespect women in here. And I was like, yeah, you're
And
kind of
like-
right.
He's like, imagine how I feel. You're out here blowing everyone you meet, and then he gets hit again, and then it's Tucker and Hef talking again, and Tucker is telling Hef about Candace. And he's like, like I always thought that before I settled down, I was gonna have a respectable quota, and I was gonna like fuck all these women. And Hef's like, hey, there's like such a thing as quality over quantity.
It's the quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
And Tucker's like, yeah, but you're dating like 7 women at once. And then Hef pulls out an old piece of paper.
Gertrude.
Well, it's an old photo, sorry.
Yeah, Gertrude.
And it was his next door neighbor who he dated in high school, Gertrude. And she was the love of his life. And Tucker says, this is like the worst looking person I've ever seen.
He's totally being a dick about
Yeah,
it.
he's just being a dick about it. And then he talks about how she had died whenever she was 18.
He
And
said good.
he said, oh, thank God. And then Hef tells him, when you find that special someone in your life, you have to hold on to them. Because he would trade all the hoes he's had for Gertrude, who's busted.
And Tucker kind of gets it. And then he was like, I'm going to call security now.
Yeah.
He's like, that's fine.
Well, they talk about how every woman has a bunny in her, and I was like, okay. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And then he calls security, and Eugene and Sydney are talking again, and he's talking about how he came for closure, and, whatever, and she says, well, I did all this for you, and he was like, well, how are you posing naked, like, good for me? And you find out that she was posing for Playboy and modeling and stuff
To pay.
to pay his medical bills, keeping him in the hospital.
Yeah, and she even got him into like a nicer place.
Yep, and kept him alive.
Because his
His
dad
dad
was
was-
going to leave him to like a lower care where they just left him to die.
Yeah, because his dad just assumed he was never going to wake back up.
And she's like, Tucker never told you any of that? And then it cuts to, like, Tucker just being a dumbass in the hospital, like, every time they would talk about,
Yeah.
like, Cindy calling, like, he was,
Yeah.
like, playing air guitar or, like, fucking with a blow-up doll or something.
Gonna
He was
put it
always-
in the ceiling. And then he falls out of the chair.
And she's like, I still love you. And I was like, bro should be excited. And then it shows Candace and Rick again. Who's Rick?
That's a good question. Who is Rick?
Oh, that's her brother. It's her brother's name.
Oh,
okay.
I never wrote his name.
Yeah, I just wrote fireman.
It mentions it, I guess, and I started writing that down. And, because I guess it goes back to...
Because Tucker and pans at Tucker and Eugene getting kicked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eugene asks why Tucker never told him.
Yeah,
And
there we go.
as they're getting
And
thrown
that's where we
out,
get that montage, yeah.
yeah, Horse Dick and the fireman and Candace all follow and catch up to them.
Yep.
Yep.
And they're about to kill Tucker. And then Tucker apologizes to Candace and they make up.
He says, I'll never stab you again. I was like, thanks, I
And then
guess.
Horstick also says that he's gonna rip off Eugene's face and fuck it.
Because he don't lie to his homies.
Yeah, he told his friends.
He's
that
like, I told
he
my
doesn't
friends
lie
I'm
to
going to
his
rip your
friends.
dick off and have you suck it. And I don't lie to my friends.
And also, whenever they're gonna execute Tucker, the fireman says, I shall bathe my steel in the blood of the offender. I was like, okay. And then Tucker tells Candace that he realizes that she's his busted girl from Kentucky, and he's willing to look past all her faults, like her busted face and her hatred of strobe lights.
Epilepsy.
And she's the last person he ever wants to bang. And if her weird brain thing makes him bite his junk, he's cool with it. And then she says that she loves Tucker too. And then it cuts back to Horse Dick and Eugene.
Yeah, they watch everything, and Eugene's like, you should let me go in there and talk to Cindy. And HD says to write whatever he wants to say on his dick so she can even read it.
And then Eugene's like, yeah, you would say this, but this doesn't bother me anymore.
Because you may have had sex with her, but I had a relationship with her.
He
You
also-
don't know her like I
He
do.
also calls him Phil, which is his
Yeah,
legal name.
Phil.
And he just tells him how, like, he just had her some trophy. And
She's not a trophy to be won.
Horse-Dick wouldn't know what to do with a girl like that. And then Cindy shows up.
It's like, yeah, he wouldn't. Because horse.mpeg ain't got no dick.
No genitals. And then you find out he has to pee through a straw. And everybody gets suspicious.
And one of his homies just pulls his pants down.
Yeah,
And it was funny too because he's like I don't normally say this, but let me see your penis,
let me
dog.
see your penis. This was the other scene that I remembered from this movie because I will never forget the ball sack and 2 straws. And, like, it's like pee dripping out, bro. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was on Letterboxd. I was reading one of the comments, and it was just like the straw penis is probably one of the most grotesque things I've seen in cinema.
And then he goes, whenever they pull his pants down, he says, "Ain't my fault. My mama was on acne medication. Leave me alone." And he runs away. And then Eugene apologizes to Sydney, and he tells her how he wants to start over.
And then they kiss.
Well, he also says, like, hey, why didn't you call the hospital? She's like, I call the hospital every Monday, and you woke up.
One day you wake up, he's like,
Yeah,
Wednesday.
he woke up on a Wednesday and ran off.
He's like, yeah, fair enough.
And she's like, we got to get you new friends. And he says, no.
No, I like that one.
They're homies, lock it up.
That's what I said. I didn't put it in my notes, but I was like, that's what I said. I was like, yeah, we're homies, lock it up.
And then it pans to Hugh
yeah.
watching everything on the security camera, and he picks up the phone and says, "Let him in."
I put Hef was moved by the displays of love, of true love.
And then, yep, Candace and Tucker are good. And Tucker's like, yeah, we're going to try and get pregnant to work things out. How are we going to fight if there's always babies around?
And I was like, "That's a terrible idea."
That's a terrible
It's an
idea.
awful idea. But then he also says he's going to try to get an internship
In the photo
in
department.
the photo department for Hef. And he's talking up Eugene now. He's like, dude, your first time is going to be in the Playboy Mansion with the Playmate? What the fuck? And
they do the exact same thing they did on prom, except this
Yeah.
time he doesn't fall downstairs.
Yeah, they have 2 shots.
They do shots, and he's like, "How do you feel?" And he's like, instead of saying nervous, he's like, "I'm ready. I
I'm
think
about to
I'm
go have
ready."
sex with my girlfriend.
And then he
pans
like,
to them having sex,
and it's terrible.
yeah, and she's not enjoying it at all.
And then he shits himself while banging her.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, don't
Don't overexert yourself.
Yeah, and then I put dude comes and shits the bed,
I put Eugene shit in the bed, literally.
and then credits roll while a clip of the doctor smashing a coma patient with a baseball bat to wake her
this
up.
scene was so fucking funny because he's like teaching the medical students. He's like I found a top notch way to wake up coma patients, and he fucking hits her, and he's like, I swear I saw this work once.
And then he hits her again.
he's like one more time, and then he goes to swing it one last time, and then the
She
bat gets
grabs
caught. Yeah,
And it's the girl that flew out of the window.
and then she says she's gonna kill Tucker.
And then I put, this movie never got a sequel. I was like, didn't even make back
It's like-
its small ass budget. And then they thought they were going to get a sequel.
Yeah, like if that's your sequel, Ben, it's not gonna happen, buddy.
Nah, it's not riveting.
My homies are riveting. Lock it up.
Okay.
Lock it up.
Lock it up.
We're homies.
Smack
Lock it up.
Flip it, rub it down.
Well. So I guess it'll be my turn to go first this time. I'm still partial to it, even though it's definitely not great. I'm gonna go with a 6. I'm still very partial to it,
You got nostalgia for it,
For
I think,
sure.
more than we do.
definitely. And like I like these guys because like it's definitely not as funny as like I remember when I was a kid, but it's still like holds a place in my heart. So I'm gonna go with the 6.
I'll do a 5, 5.5, 5. I'm gonna give it a 5. Middle of the road for me.
Oh yeah.
Like I wouldn't like not watch this movie again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I'll watch it again. It was funny. I'm just not gonna like. I'm gonna watch something
It
different.
could definitely be good background noise. Just like throw it
Yeah.
on while your friends come over and you're at a party. You're just chilling, talking.
I'm going with a 4.5.
Okay.
And I put, it's funny and I love The Whitest Kids You Know, but it's just not a good movie. I'm not letting my nostalgia and my love for Trevor Moore overrate this movie for what it is.
That's fair.
Because like I haven't thought about it once in 14 years. I'm probably not going to think about it for another 14 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I just can't justify a movie where like a normal movie like this I'd probably give, you know, a 5 that I would think about more often. Something like Role Models or like
Yeah.
something along those lines, or Sex Drive, right? Where like whenever I
Right.
think of sex comedy, Sex Drive's probably one of the first ones that come to my mind.
Yeah, like I would rank those higher, but I still wouldn't rank them super high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like,
see
the
what you're
highest
saying.
I'd go is 5, and with this one, like it's just not 5 material for me.
Respect. All right. I
And
get it.
like I'm not gonna let my love for for the two guys in the movie make me rank it higher than what I think it deserves.
Right.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I'm going with 4.5.
Also, official boob counter, I think I had 8.
Hell yeah.
I think I had 8. Now it's 4. No, there's more than 8.
Yeah.
There's way more than 8. What the fuck am I
Yeah.
on?
At least 12.
12 sets or 12 boobs?
I don't know. Are you counting them as individual sets or like as individual tit?
Well, when I said 4 boobs the first time, that would have been 2 sets of boobs. So, if we're doing sets, I would say
Like 10 maybe?
between 8 and 12. Like I said, I kind of lost.
Boobs maybe 20?
Let's say there's a solid like 16 boobs.
That's
Hell
a good
yeah.
number.
That's
I
a
like
good
that.
number of boobs. So, probably the most booby movie we're ever going to have on this podcast.
Unless we do like one of the American Pies.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. I'm going to have to pause for those. Jesus
Oh, yeah, because
Christ.
Naked Mile, they're all
Oh,
thinking.
especially Naked
Oh,
Mile.
God. I don't want to do that one.
We can kill, it'll be kill count, but instead of deaths, it's boobs.
The boob count. Yeah, dude.
And that'll be our purge.
Just fucking frame by frame.
Yep.
Oh, God.
But,
We're going to have to wait till we actually have a research team.
yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
More than just like 5 people.
But that's all I've got for this.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. Well, that's been another Movie Juiced. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. You can follow us on Facebook at Movie Juice, Instagram and Twitter at Movie Juice Pod. Still got that coming soon website at www.moviejuicepod.com. If you have any suggestions for a logo, or you want to give us your thoughts on movies we've already reviewed, or recommendations for other movies, or if you just want to leave a review for this podcast, you can email all those to us at moviejuicepod@gmail.com. Please write in. We'd love to hear from you. And if it's funny enough, we'll read it on here. All links can be found in our link tree. We are on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. You can follow us all individually on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the description below.
Ayo.
We'll be back next week with the 1993 smash hit horror film Leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And as always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
And I've been James. And for one last time, this has been The Juice.
Civilization.